right, here we go. Welcome back to another episode of Dried Blood. We are in season 5. This is episode 2. I'm Katt. We got Rogue, Professor Cervantes versus Copycat.
Wait, your cat?
Well, I was Katt, kind of.
Or my cat.
We're all a little Katt,
I'm
I
Katt?
think.
Who's cat?
We can all be
Speaking
Katt.
Let me just start this with a lore drop. This was a fun episode for me because Emery is a character that I played previously who was a changeling who ran a bar that hid out and was gathering intel. So this was fun for me that because you were a changeling of sorts, I wanted to make sure this piece was for your first match. That way we could maybe lore drop that at some point. That was fun. So
yeah.
thank you.
Listen, the two of you all showcased amazing adaptability in many ways, on many levels, right? But just the way you interacted with the space, the reactions to each other was top tier. Rogue, I'm going to go to you for this first, and then we're going to turn to you, Katt. Was this the way you planned your character to come out, right? And to have this kind of first debut of like, here's who I am, who I really am, and all this true self and what I can do.
Like,
Bro, we got a lot of your backstory, Rogue, a lot more about your history and all of your businesses and credits and all of the financial details about who you are. This was quite a show.
None of that was planned. None of that was actually
Fair.
true. So that was just exciting. I don't know. What was the question again?
Yeah, was this the way that you wanted to present your character? Not only with how, of course, Copycat really showcased a great and collective and creative move against you time and time again, but also how you got to demonstrate your character.
This is not what I planned to do because I did plan to have a character that was, but I love that it panned out this way instead because I planned to have a character that was ready for a full-on brawl and fist fighting the whole time. So to have the opposite of that happen the entire time.
Number of phone calls we racked up here.
Yeah, right. That was a lot more fun to play than what I anticipated. So I'm excited for that. Yeah.
That was fantastic. Well, I mean, he's very memorable. And of course, we got to see some familial connections as well. So well done presenting Professor Cervantes. How about Copycat on the flip side? Like right from the beginning, you were already duplicating. Was this exactly how you thought? Like, yes, people are going to understand who Copycat is through and through by the end.
At first I was like, oh yeah, I'm kind of glad that I didn't go first because it just worked out in my favor. And then after that, I was like, okay, we're gonna start copying everybody and copying people's whatever they would say, like word for word. I was trying so hard to make sure I was like paying attention to get it out because like that's who she is. She doesn't really have her own identity, so she takes everybody else's. So that's what I really wanted to display.
Yeah. Yeah. And just being able to respond. A lot of people think like being first on the initiative is the most important thing, but it just depends on your character and the setup that you have. Sometimes it's better not to go first.
Yeah. No, that was great. It worked out really, really well, especially seeing how Professor would fight.
I liked how all your moves were basically just trying to destroy him financially.
Yeah, because hey, there's different types of fighting, besides, and I knew when he did the first move, when he tried to like throw something at me or whatnot, I was like, okay, cool, he's gonna try and fight me, like an actual brawler, how we think this is gonna go, but I'm gonna try and fight him a different way,
Love that so much. I had, when you started doing that, I already had it queued up in my head to scream, I have tenure at some point.
I'm ready for
So glad I got to.
They can't let me go.
It started from the beginning. I was just like, go for my credentials, please go for my credentials and fail. Do it.
And it worked out too, because I did fail. So it was great. Yes.
It was perfect.
Rogue, this was very different than your last time that you were on the show because your opponent didn't kill themselves. The rolls were still not great tonight, but you at least got to attack each other, unlike the last time you fought. What did it feel like to actually fight?
Yeah, this was fun. The last fight I did, I just kind of stood there and watched as they
that one.
Oh
my gosh. Listen,
Oh
how
man,
close this game was insane. The fact 1
Mhm.
HP, all 4 fatigues were out on the board. I'm like, somebody's gonna die so
I
soon.
was so ready to. I was so ready for my character to die. Like every single time he'd attack, I
Same.
was like, "Oh, this is it." And then I'd
Yep.
roll, and I'm like, "Can I like roll this when I do attacks? Like, what is
Right.
this?"
Yeah, yeah.
Right? Every time. I think what the first few rounds we used as all of our resources and nothing hit.
No.
Just it was so
Yeah.
insane.
Like, you're trying. I
Uh,
see what you're doing, but
Yeah.
nah.
That was a
These
close
cool
one.
ideas, nah.
It was super fun at the end because with that second status effect in there, taking you down just
Oh
within
Mhm.
1
yeah,
HP. I'm like, or
I
one fighting
didn't
spirit.
know.
I was like,
I
I was
didn't
actually
realize.
expecting. I was expecting the Lord of Fate to come over
and hit
and bring
you.
that chair over to me. Yeah, because I was like, I'm pushing buttons. I'm pushing buttons.
See,
Yeah.
I
but the
want to see
Lord
what.
of
But I was like ready.
he's not like the Shadow King though.
That's
Really,
true.
he
Yeah.
doesn't. He'd like you to believe that he's above proving himself, but compelled to prove himself.
yeah.
So,
It was great. I loved it.
it was that was fun. I was like, oh, are you wanting me to take your action? Because I'll do it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I'll use your status effect too.
Oh,
Let's go.
Oh yeah.
I knew I was screwed the second you came down, and I'm like, oh no. Yeah.
This was a poor choice.
Yeah,
No,
that was
you all were fantastic and creative through and through. Every single move, whether it was a success or failure, which ultimately shows us that's what being a true champion is and why the two of you are always asked back on here because it's not about succeeding, but it's however those dice roll, how do you make it into a story? How do you make it into a move for your character? And it just delivered every single time. I got to give my hats off to you. I'm not wearing a hat, but if I did, it would be off for the two of you.
Thank you.
I do think a
I'm at
highlight moment for me is
Oh,
when they was trying to rip a face off.
sorry about that, Rogue.
It's okay. It's okay. I am at 2 losses and 1 window total for every
Ooh.
show, so
Ooh.
I've gotta
And
I
one of
don't
those
know.
wins wasn't really you.
I was gonna say I
exactly,
don't
yeah.
know if my win counts because my one win my character died at the end.
Yeah, I mean
So
season 4 only the Shadow King really won.
Yeah.
yeah, so I was gonna
Yeah.
say because Shadow King killed my character last time, even though I had won the fight. So I'm probably 1 for 1.
We got a
Yeah.
If we
now
Yeah.
we've
don't,
got
So
yeah,
so let's clarify. Speaking of the end of this, right? Like we had Thea turn on the lights where all of the acolytes could see and they look down. What was it that they're seeing? What is Copycat doing at the end of this victory?
Copycat is bowing graciously, and then you see the chinchilla run up and hop into their arms, and they start petting him while bowing, and you realize, wait a second, the chinchilla didn't really like Copycat. So
Huh. Huh.
is that
Huh.
really Copycat?
Ah. Ooh.
as you notice
Ooh.
copycats wiping the bar with one hand.
Just on the side, just like wipe it.
We still
The same
can't tell the
spot still.
difference. Yeah.
That's the same
The
spot.
same spot.
There's
That
like a
that
small
spot.
dent in the wood.
Yeah, that
Yeah,
that
there's a small
polished
dent in the
spot.
wood.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Yep.
That tormented me the entire time because I was constantly thinking like, how can I use that? How can I use that? I couldn't think of a way to use a really polished spot on a bar.
Just the one spot, like the only pretty
Right.
spot here.
The
The rest
one
of the bar
pretty
is
spot,
sticky and
yeah.
gross. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, you know what? I'm sure we'll be back to Emery's Tavern at some point, so you got time to think about it. But we're gonna wrap this thing up, and we're gonna finish it the way we always do: a piece of advice, some last words, a motto, something to the acolytes from you or your characters. We'll let Cervantes. You go first.
A piece of advice from Cervantes that he would give you is do not throw things into a fireplace. That is not good. It is probably dangerous and a fire hazard. Also, be kind to your mother because because she will, or at least a changeling doppelganger of her will
Mhm.
beat you into oblivion.
It's reasonable.
Well
It's a
said.
reasonable outcome. Yes. Smart takeaways. Smart takeaways. Kat?
I think Copycat would say, well, not really Copycat, maybe, but don't try and be anybody else because you are the best version of yourself and no one can take that away from you, no matter how hard they try.
I was fully prepared for you to just say what I said word for word.
I can't believe.
I was thinking about I was this close. I was like, no.
Just remember enough of it.
All right. Well, we will see everybody on the next episode of D20 Deathmatch.
Bye.